go.
Excellent connection. I've got a button that says end stream, but nothing to say go live.
I went now.
Here we go. I think it's happening.
Could be. Is it red? It got red box in the corner.
Yep, live. So, yeah.
Spooky music.
Why can't we just have the Black Beauty as the theme tune?
It doesn't shit you up like this one does.
Yes, it is, because I could do scary lyrics.
Yeah, give it a go.
Spooky theme show. Spooky show about ghosts and spooky things. What you need is like someone who's a musician, not me, to transpose the Black Beauty theme tune and make it into a minor key, and then it will sound dark and sinister.
We're live.
Oh, don't say fuck or bugger.
Don't say fuck or bugger.
Don't say it, yep. If you say fuck or bugger, then don't.
Okay.
What about tit wank? Can I say that?
Think once, think twice. Don't say fuck or bugger.
If you say fuck or bugger on this show, Ofcom will be sad. You say fuck or bugger on this, so don't do it.
An excellent double. Just did a double fuck or bugger because I just started the stream so I can see the chat.
Yeah, I was just going to say the chat is hosted on BBC2 tonight.
Yeah, everybody knows. I don't think.
There was a general strike on BBC One because they were accusing Nana Afonwe of racism. So,
did you hear that charity hosted by Mrs. Unguzi, whatever her name was, turns out to be an actual scam. So once again, people alerting people to their own fucking wrongdoing.
And if this wouldn't have happened if she didn't say, "Oh, the prince's godmother
being oppressed," literally, Monty Python style.
It's like maybe you shouldn't throw stones if you're living in a glass house, but
if you're living in a glass house that could fall any.
And it's being funded by the taxpayers that are brutally oppressing you.
Yeah.
So, the stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend you stream bit rate of 4,500 kbps.
Are you doing HD?
Am I? Oh, yeah, it's in HD.
Ah, well, that would be why.
Right. Your internet rations run out.
No, I went down to I dropped it to 720p. So it would just you'll have the big yellow bar going. It's wrong resolution.
Fair enough then. It's chat. You'll have to let us know if it's buffering or not because it's.
Everything should be broadcasting wideband.
It's only a matter of time now.
Oh, I've got some drop frames. I've got some drop frames, but it's stopped now.
What is the subject of tonight, and why is it about Michael Jackson noncing kids? I thought you couldn't because he'd been convicted.
Yeah, it's a controversial subject. We can get on to that.
Ian,
we just have to look at
ignorant. You're just being ignorant. Ian.
Yeah. There's not enough love in the world. We should love each other. Before we start though, I have had two Fortean experiences recently, which I can tell you about. So if you want to know about that, I will. Firstly, if you look at the first picture I sent you there, Hem, you just put that one up. And this is just a book I bought.
Slideshow,
let's have a look at this. There we go. Look at that. So I bought that book recently, only a few quid off eBay.
Mr. Dinsdale.
The Leviathans.
Mr. Dinsdale.
Exactly.
I don't scroll up because there's sexually explicit pictures in the chat, and I don't want to look at them.
But anyway, so I bought that. The Leviathans by Tim Dinsdale. Mysterious sightings of lake monsters and sea monsters throughout the world. So, yeah, pretty good book. I haven't read it yet. It was first published in 1966. This edition was published in 1976.
Good year, that.
And for those of you who are familiar with the Fortean world and followers of my adventures, you'll know who Tim Dinsdale is.
Was he the man you doorstepped? and he didn't appreciate.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one whose daughter I upset when I went round her house that time. And then she wouldn't speak to me after that. But anyway, for those of you who don't know who he was, he's the guy who filmed the Loch Ness Monster in 1960 and devoted his life to finding out the truth about the monster. He died in 1987, but is regarded as the #1 Loch Ness investigator. So I had a look in the book, and if you go to the next page, the next picture, please, Hemi.
Yep.
Let's have a look at what I put in the front of the book.
Oh, you got an autograph.
Look at that. It's signed by Tim Dinsdale himself, so a bit of a result. That I was quite pleased I got
Mr.
that.
Dinsdale.
So that's the book signed by the man himself, and I'm now the proud owner of Tim Dinsdale's signature. So that's good.
So you can start forging checks and getting stuff sent to his house then.
Yeah. Or push dog dirt to his letterbox because his daughter wouldn't give me an interview, which is a bit. I thought that was a bit tight, but it doesn't matter. Secondly, though, you may have had a paranormal experience, and if you know me, you know that I'm generally a skeptic of psychic powers and the paranormal. But,
was it Ouija board time?
No, it wasn't. I was sat in my chair in work, and I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket as if I'd had a message. So I reached into my pocket, and there was no phone in there because in the army, you see, we're not allowed to have phones. We're not allowed to carry our phones. So I went outside.
That's actually a thing, isn't it? The vibrating leg.
It's weird though, because I had that. I went outside, checked my phone, and there was a text there just come in. So I don't know.
Was it
I can't explain it.
You experiencing telephone telepathy, which will probably get a new definition in the future, because it happens to me quite often. I'll think of someone, and even if I haven't seen them like one example is my best friend from school, hadn't spoken to him in 20 years, get a phone call from him, and it's just unbidden. You start thinking of something. So in your case, did you actually were you thinking of a person, or was it just a case of I think I got a message?
No, I was just working. I wasn't thinking about phones or anything. I did feel my phone went off as if it was in there.
Do you want a bit of history about phantom phone syndrome?
Just before you do that, out of curiosity, was it like a message from somebody you know, or was it just an unsolicited text? What was it?
No, it was. I think it was the doctor actually. So yeah, telling me the results of my blood test. But yeah, it's weird though, eh? No, but I've got an overactive thyroid.
Catch it twice.
Right.
Today mobile phones are causing the hallucinations, but in the 1990s people reported phantom pager syndrome. Before being called phantom vibration syndrome, the condition was briefly known as ringxiety.
Yeah, a sore ring, eh? But maybe my phone. Maybe my phone is haunted. But anyway, so
I think it's. Or you're in tune with your phone, so that you can sense when.
Or you're in tune with people sending messages to your phone.
Yeah, but that's the only time it's ever happened. It hasn't happened before or since, but it happened that one time. So I don't know. Strange,
I've had it quite a few times when my leg just vibrates and I haven't even got a phone in my pocket.
You see, it's rubbing off. You're spending too much time with me, and now you're going to go into the woo-woo world.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's why Zero had to leave.
What you're thinking of there is an erection, I think, isn't it? That would probably explain what happened there.
I like to think Zero had to leave because
the Independent reckon that up to 90% of people suffer phantom vibration syndrome.
Peculiar. Anyway, so has anyone had any? So there's 2 Fortean experiences which I've had in the last week or so. Anyone else had any before we get into the meat and bone of the topic tonight?
We'll have to wait a minute or two for chat to catch up.
Yeah. Not them, I was asking us.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean...
Brucey Gibbet said he can read the chat with his eyes closed.
Has he got text-to-speech on? In which case, let me try something.
Bum bum.
Maybe though he could. Maybe he
Hey, stop reading what I'm writing.
Maybe he can read via the amazing system of Braille.
What Braille? What like it? Oh, I have seen that. There was like somebody making like a Braille e-ink display for blinds,
Yeah.
so that they too could have like a.
Well,
I was watching something about
true.
Braille, and the geezer said his mum says, "What you doing reading in the dark?" His mum didn't quite figure out that you didn't need light to read Braille.
Stupid bitch.
I've got
But I'm
smudges all
actually
over my monitor. Would not recommend.
I am blind, but I'm able to read by an amazing system called Broil. I'm sorry, I'll feel that again. Peter Cook. All right then. Anyway, all right. Should we get on to
I'm
the?
blind, but I can read through Braille.
No, you're gonna have to spray that one, Ian.
Was that a smelling mistake? Like he's misread Braille.
My dog has no nose.
Why does he smell terrible?
Yeah, he's got a problem with his arse. Right. Okay. So, should we get on with tonight's topic? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the Pink Floyd's "The Wall" was about Michael Jackson, but he's not a teacher. He's a musician and entertainer.
Jacko, leave them kids alone.
But anyway, we have got a lot to get to, so let's stop dicking about and get on with it. Yeah. So.
That's what he said.
If we look at our programme, one of the reasons why Fortean Words is so popular and gets so many viewers is that we're not afraid to tackle controversial subtopics, that other podcasts will not go near. We cross the line, others stay firmly within, and we go to the no-go areas. And tonight, we're going to tackle such a topic as we head over to Neverland and have a sleepover with Michael Jackson's boys.
I'm going to say he goes to places no one else goes.
Yeah, so they say.
He's like Heineken, anyway. Who refreshes the parts that most beers don't bother with.
Yeah, I think he preferred wine though, but never mind.
He likes a nice.
Ignorant. I'll be the conscience of I'll be Michael Jackson in this. You're going to be stupid. You're being ignorant.
But I'm sure everyone knows who Michael Jackson is, even though he's been dead for 13 years. Not knowing who he is like not knowing who Hitler is, isn't it? Sort of.
Who's that then?
Hitler, some bastard. Anyway,
is that Greta Thunberg's wife, husband, father,
uncle?
No, she was seeing a guy she met in the remedial class. So let's have a look. Wendy House. Yeah, div kids. But yeah, so what we'll do, we'll just recap though first before we get into the juicy stuff. We'll just have a quick look at, just recap Michael Jackson's story, is it? So Jacko was born 29th of August 1958 in Gary, Indiana. He was the 8th of 10 children in a working class family.
It's a very horrible sticker that should not be seen anywhere.
Yeah, they lived in a two.
I meant to say double click. This is what I said. This should follow up the Hitler one. I'm a bit late with the drops.
All right, then
some of your younger viewers might not know what this is. It's called a swastika.
All right, yeah. So anyway, so they lived in a small 2-bedroom house. The 10 of them. There was his mother, Catherine, who was a Jehovah's Witness, worked part-time in a high street store called Sears, and his father, Joe, who worked as a crane operator for US Steel. Joe also played guitar with a local rhythm and blues band to supplement his meager income. Michael grew up with 3 sisters, Rebby, Latoya, and Janet, and 5 brothers.
Latoya's Michael. We all know this one.
Yeah, I think and Janet is Michael, isn't it? But anyway,
Latoya is.
Latoya, yeah. She got them out in Playboy, didn't she? So, yeah. So, and he had 5 brothers: Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Randy. A 6th brother.
Seems like Michael should have had that name.
Yeah. What kind of father calls his child Randy? But anyway, a 6th brother, Marlon's twin, died shortly after birth. So there we go. In 1964, Michael and Marlon joined the Jackson Brothers, a band formed by their father.
He's dead. You said Michael and Marlon.
No, Marlon's brother. Marlon's twin died, not Marlon. Marlon lived, but his twin.
Okay.
Brother, Marlon. Yeah. So, Michael and Marlon joined the Jackson Brothers, a band formed by their father, which included Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine, as backup musicians playing congas and tambourine. So he was 5 years old when he started performing. In later life, Michael claimed that during this time his father would physically and emotionally abuse him during rehearsals. Joe would tell Michael that he had a fat nose and he would sit in a chair with his belt in his hand as his siblings rehearsed, ready to punish any mistakes. Michael would regularly receive beatings. So, in 1965, Michael started to sing lead vocals with the group. They changed their name to the Jackson 5 and started to regularly win talent shows.
How many of them was there?
Joe...
How many of them was there?
7. Joe realised that the group had a talent and saw this as his meal ticket out of the hard grind of bringing up a large family on a low wage that he was earning at the steel plant.
I would have thought being a crane driver would be good money, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk. It depends what kind of crane, isn't it? But it looks like a laugh doing it. But anyway, after several years of performing on the cabaret circuit, the Jackson 5 were signed to Motown Records and made their TV debut in the 1969 at the Miss Black America pageant. Rolling Stone magazine would go on to describe the young Michael as a prodigy with overwhelming musical gifts, who quickly emerged as the main draw and the lead singer.
He's
a string of hits then followed.
Fire starter.
Yeah, a string of hits then followed for the Jackson 5 as they became one of the most popular chart acts in the US, and Michael developed from a child performer into a teen idol. He also released 4 studio albums for Motown without his brothers between 1972 and 1975.
And he sung the theme tune to the film Willard about the kid who trains black sweet people.
And he sang the theme tune. He sang the theme tune to Minder as well, and he starred in it as well. During this time, Joe got what he wanted as the family moved from their small 2-bedroom house into a large house in a 2-acre estate in Encio, California.
That's insane.
Jackson 5. Yep. The Jackson 5 left Motown in 1975 due to Motown's refusal to allow them creative content. The group signed with Epic Records, renaming themselves the Jacksons. So yeah. In 1977, Michael played the part of the Scarecrow in the film The Wiz, which was a musical version of The Wizard of Oz. The musical score was produced... Yeah, it was all black cast. The musical score was produced by Quincy Jones, who Michael would collaborate with and produce his next 3 albums. In 1979, Michael Jackson released Off the Wall, which established him as a solo performer and helped him move away from the bubblegum pop of his youth to more complex sounds. The album was a huge success and sold more than 20 million copies worldwide. Jackson felt that Off the Wall should have made a bigger impact and was determined to exceed expectations with his next release. I think that's quite a good LP, that Off the Wall. But anyway, the one thing that was noticeable about Jackson at this time was the shape of his nose had changed. So if you would go to the next picture there, Hebby, let's just have a quick look at Jackson's face. Yeah. Look at that, see? So there he is in 1975 with more of a broader... Remember that line from Hot
Tub Time Machine? What year is it? I don't know. What colour's Michael Jackson?
Yeah, you can see the nose is definitely thinner there for some reason in that period.
So is this like, his dad saying you got a fat nose and him going, I've got to change my nose, so I know that I'm my dad.
Also, he did say that he broke it during rehearsals as well, so that may have also altered the chase. But it is clear that Jackson had undergone some surgery to achieve this look. In 1980, he secured the highest royalty rate in the music industry, 37% of wholesale album profits, which is quite a lot. From 1981 to 83, Jackson recorded some songs with Queen frontman Freddie Mercury. The songs were supposed to be for an album of duets, but the relationship soured when Jackson brought a lemur into the recording studio, and Jackson was upset by Mercury's drug use. So I think those songs were released.
It was all right with him trying to bum him then.
Yeah, well, they were both. Yeah, Freddie was a bit old for Jackson, wasn't he? Though. So let's see. In late 1982, Jackson released his sixth album, Thriller. The album went on to become the best-selling album of all time, selling over an estimated 70 million copies to date. But again, during this time, Jackson's face appeared to change. Go to the next picture there, Hemi. Let's have another look at a bit early 80s Jackson. Let's have a look at that and see there. He's
the eyebrows are changed. I don't think a lot's changed there, though, was it? I don't think.
The nose is the nose is sort of
yeah, it's got definitely a little bit narrower.
I
don't think anything's been done to the eyes or the cheeks or anything, though, is it?
Maybe he's plucked his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay, the nose appeared a lot slimmer, though, no doubt.
Yeah.
A result of more plastic surgery. In March 1983, Jackson was invited to perform with his brothers on Motown 25, a television special featuring Motown artists to celebrate 25 years of the record label. Jackson initially turned down the offer as he was doing too much television, but finally agreed to do it as long as he could do a solo performance as well as performing with his brothers. Jackson performed a medley of Jackson 5 hits with his brothers, then performed his hit Billie Jean, where he debuted his trademark moonwalk dance whilst wearing his iconic single white glove. Yeah, no, not yet. No, he didn't. He wasn't into that yet.
Then?
No, that came later. The performance promoted his album.
Oh yeah, that was the
he always did that.
Was, Billie Jean. That was.
But the performance promoted his album Thriller even more and started to establish Jackson as the biggest musical star in the world. Sales of Thriller doubled when Jackson released the extended musical video for the album's title track, Thriller.
Directed by John Landis, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And special effects done by Rick Baker, who did American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, and The Howling.
Yeah. Well, how shit, isn't it?
That's because he was doing the effects for The Howling, and then halfway through, American Werewolf poached him, so he left the job half done there.
Right.
Jackson was inspired after seeing the movie American Werewolf in London, as we just said.
Quality. If no one's
I think you'll find. I think you'll find this isn't in the least bit amusing. That's my favourite line from the. That's a classic. He employed the services.
Funny enough, I was watching a TV program today, and it was the commuter guy that gets murdered.
That's the guy.
And I was like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
I think you'll find this isn't in the least bit amusing. Yes. Anyway. He employed the services of the director of the film, John Landis, to direct the Thriller video. It was 15 minutes long and more of a mini movie than a music video. It cost $500,000 to make and involved Michael transforming into a werewolf and dancing with zombies while singing the hit. Big TV thing at the time. I wasn't really into it.
I'm not like the other man.
Yeah, certainly not. In November 1983, Jackson and his brothers partnered with Pepsi in a $5 million promotional deal. And on the 27th of January 1984, the Jacksons were filming a Pepsi commercial.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping.
His brothers.
I thought you were moving on.
No, I'm telling you about the incident. Where the brothers were performing a simulated concert. Pyrotechnics accidentally set Michael's hair on fire during the filming, causing second-degree burns to his scalp. Jackson underwent treatment to hide the scars and had his third nose operation thereafter. So if we go to the next picture there, Hemi, we can actually have
some people think that that's where where it started, don't they?
Yeah, it started before then. There he is. That's actual photo of him with his head on fire. So yeah, that's what happened there.
Can his pants be on fire?
So after
he
had so much hairspray and shit on it, was flammable. That's why. Anyway, so after this incident, Jackson was prescribed painkillers, which developed into a lifelong addiction thereafter.
When he started doing
in
straight
1980
fent later on, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking was well zonked for most of his latter years.
Was he a fentanyl enthusiast as well?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, later on.
Oh, okay. Isn't it funny, Belgium, Congo, and then afterwards Belgium invent a drug which kills lots of famous people with no pattern amongst it. Fentanyl kills people. Don't take fentanyl.
Fentanyl's bad.
Fentanyl
don't do fentanyl.
Don't do fentanyl. Yeah.
Fentanyl doesn't kill people. Rappers do.
Sound of the police. Woo, woo, woo.
Your mother's got a penis. So, in 1984, Jackson toured with his brothers, the last show of which, and then he announced that he was going to split from the group. So, yeah. So after all his success of the early 80s,
going back to the the Jackson period, like was it? Can You Feel It's a banger, isn't it?
Some of his on Off the Wall, there's some good songs. I'm not on Thriller, but there's some good songs. But after that,
there's some real shit on there, though, isn't there? That fucking
there's a lot.
That Paul McCartney one, that's garbage, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to get some shit songs. He usually chucks in a love song as well, which is a bit crap. But
yeah,
some of the funky stuff is quite good. But anyway,
Eddie Van Halen did the guitars on it, didn't he?
Yeah, and Slash did some as well on later LPs.
That was Black or White. He did that, didn't
he? Yeah. Crap or shite, I call it. After all his success in the early 80s, Jackson became the most successful and richest entertainer in the world. But press coverage of him was becoming more focused on his peculiar behaviour rather than his record-breaking feats as an entertainer.
He was richer than Norman Wisdom.
Eh?
He was richer than Norman Wisdom.
Yeah. Ooh. Norman Wisdom was loaded, wasn't he? Yeah. He would often speak in a soft, childlike voice, and he would often be accompanied by his pet chimp.
That's ignorant.
I know, yeah. Ignorant. Bubbles. Which was put on, that voice was.
So he's basically trying to be the opposite of his dad.
You're being ignorant. Stop that.
But anyway, he would often be accompanied by his pet chimp, Bubbles, who he would dress in clothes, eat at the table with, and generally treat as a human. Go to the next picture there, Hemi. We can actually see Bubbles. Jackson in action with Bubbles here. You know, it's a bit fucked up, isn't it? But anyway.
I did not know that Van Halen did the guitars for Beat It.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen did, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he had an interesting thing.
We're not at Moonwalker yet, are we? When Michael turns into a car.
That was Smooth Criminal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's bad. That's the bad album, isn't it? So yeah, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We'll get on to that. He had an interest in things that would normally appeal to children, like cartoons and Disney. He didn't seem to have...
Wasn't he styling himself after Weird Al Yankovic? Because it's the same glasses and hair.
Well, they were mates. They became mates after he did Eat It. Was it? Which one did he do first? Eat It, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And Fat. Fat was the other one.
Fat's off the bat. Fat's bad, isn't
I'm fat. I'm fat. You know it. He's really, really fat.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so Jackson didn't seem to have girlfriends or boyfriends. Usually the world's biggest pop star in the 20s, would be like shagging, wouldn't he? Like
he was Prince just he was saving himself for a nice woman. I don't know what
Prince had a similar... Prince was around at the same time, and he was always shagging. But anyway, in fact, he was obsessed. But yeah, he was obsessed by it. He did. Kim Basinger was one of his. Sheena Easton, who was nice. Anyway, he preferred to hang around with people like Elizabeth Taylor and Liza Minnelli, who were old women at the time. During this period, it was reported...
She's a looker, isn't she? Ooh.
She's dead now.
I think so.
Anyway, during this period,
who's her mum?
It was reported that...
Is it? No, it's not.
Judy Garland.
Julie Garland, yeah.
Friend of Dorothy. A friend of Dorothy, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, if you're a friend of Dorothy. Anyway, during this period, it was reported that he slept in an oxygen chamber to preserve his youth, and also tried to buy the bones of the Elephant Man. This behaviour caused the press to label
He's
him
from Leicester,
Wacko
isn't he,
Jacko.
the Elephant Man?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Merrick.
That's not bad. So was Gary Lineker. So,
Leave me
anyway.
alone. Leave me alone. He dances with the bones of the Elephant Man, doesn't he?
Yeah. That was a shit song as well. But this behaviour caused him to be called Wacko Jacko, and there was really a day where he was not out of the pages of the gutter press. Most alarmingly, though, during these post-Thriller years, Jackson's physical appearance was significantly changing, and his nose was becoming smaller, and he was clearly undergoing extensive plastic surgery. His skin was becoming lighter, fueling rumours that he was undergoing skin bleaching treatment.
That's ignorant. You're being ignorant. That's just Philago. You're being ignorant.
Let's go to the next picture then. Let's judge for ourselves. We can see something there. More drastic.
You're being ignorant. You're being ignorant.
Oh dear. Definitely something strange going on there. Anyway, in 1987, Jackson.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it looks like it. Jackson released the Bard album. It was his first LP in 5 years and was promoted in a similar intensity as Thriller. The videos for the title song Bard was accompanied by a mini-movie type video like Thriller, which was a much hyped
Wesley Snipes
TV premiere.
Biker, didn't it?
I remember I did see it. I remember actually watching that live, or watching it when it was first released. It was like a TV event.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't a fan, I still watched it. And the first thing I thought when I saw it was, what the fuck has he done to his face? Because he didn't look like that before.
I don't know. I think like the Moonwalker period, I think is when he looked better. It's like he got it right. It's like after that, it started really going downhill, didn't it?
Well, just don't bother at all. Just look like just look like a regular black guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, so he no longer seemed to be a black guy like he was in Thriller anyway. So that was my initial thought. As he said in his
own song, it don't matter if you're black or white, does it?
It clearly does, doesn't it, for him? It's a bit hypocritical, that.
That was the only song Michael Jackson said to Weird Al, please don't make a Snack All Night parody of Black or White. Because he said it was a serious song and he didn't want it to be taken the piss out of.
A second thought, though, whilst watching that Bard video was, why does he keep grabbing his dick? That was, yeah. What was all that about? It was his new dance move that he incorporated, but I was more impressed by the moonwalk than the dick grab.
I feel like I should play devil's advocate
about that. He said, "You're in front of the children, Michael. Stop grabbing your dick."
I know. What was all that about? What? I don't know. That was like some countries where he performed. They said, some more reserved countries. He did tour the world. They said, he didn't do that in his shows. The authorities wouldn't let him. A bit
like when Disney rubbed John Boyega out of the Star Wars poster for China.
But yeah. Whilst watching that, though, the third thought I had whilst watching it, I thought this song is shit, and I thought the video is shit as well.
I like
Bad. I thought it was
a bad tune.
I thought it was the crap. On the whole, the album was nothing special, though Smooth Criminal was quite good.
Yes,
Dirty
Diana went a bad tune. I'm trying to think what's the
really is.
I don't.
That was Wilt Slash.
Let's go. Did you want to do a sideline of discuss the tracks of?
You can if you like, but I don't.
Let's get through what Ian's written and
Let's get on to the pedo stuff, which is just a bit of background anyway. Okay. Anyway, Off the Wall and Thriller were far superior. Even so, the album was a huge success, though not as much as Thriller. It still went on to sell over 35 million copies.
To be fair, you're
worldwide.
right. I'm looking through the track list, and I only remember 1, 2, 3, 4 songs off of that album.
Anyway, the Ballad World Tour followed, which lasted for over for 2 years, further boosting Jackson's bank balance. And I remember I had the opportunity to go and see him live on that tour in Cardiff.
Hold on, they're saying on here Smooth Criminal wasn't on the Bad album.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, of course it was.
Anyway, what we'll do, let's just go on. If you go to the next, let's have a look at the next picture then. Let's just see the latest, at this point, late 80s face that he had and see the changes that he'd made. Go to the next picture there.
Oh, he's lost
let's
the
have a look.
Finally.
He's got a bit in the first bit. He probably had it surgically removed there.
It needed to.
And there's something going on with his chin there. Is that what's going on with the chin?
The dimple in the chin, because he wanted to look like Kirk Douglas, like a real man, didn't he?
Well, he should stop talking like he did to start with. That looks more like a miniature arse on his chin than anything.
Well,
but anyway, there you go. That's
true.
It's good. Yeah, we'll get on to that. Anyway, Hobbit, do you want to cover the next part of Jackson's career and his later years?
I won't do a Dom voice. I'll try and laugh here and there. But so in March 1988, Jackson he purchased 2,700 acres. Wow, that's a big farm. Anyway, so he purchased 2,700 acres of land near Santa Ynez in California to build a new home, which would become the infamous Neverland Ranch. Yeah, that's it. It cost $17 million when he installed a Ferris wheel. That's not too bad, is it? $17 million for all that land and stuff. So he had a Ferris wheel, carousel, a movie theatre, and the zoo. In March 91, Jackson released his new LP, that's a long-playing record to the folks at home, called Dangerous, which went on to sell over 30 million copies worldwide.
It was shit. That was. I don't know. It was so
Black or White was all right, but I can't think. Oh, yeah.
It was.
It don't matter if you snack all night. I want to hear Weird Al's. Well, he'd never do it, but.
Actually, in between that, you're wrong. There's a remix album called The Original Soul of Michael Jackson that comes in between those two.
Oh. So the title single "Black or White" was a delusional song about racial harmony. Like that one, Ebony and Ivory, with Paul McCartney in it.
The Girl Is Mine as well. That was fucking awful. That was. No, Ebony and Ivory, Stevie Wonder and somebody, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you seen Stevie Wonder's new car?
He drives it, doesn't he?
No, neither is he.
So. The title single, Black or White, was a delusional song about racial harmony, which has the line, "It don't matter if you're black or white." Anyway. Yet the guy singing it used to be black.
But a turf war on a global scale. Do you remember the rap in the middle of it?
No, I don't remember the rap in it.
Both sides of the tale. See, it's not about races, just faces, places, where your blood comes from.
I'm just going to assume you're making all of that up because I don't remember.
They are real words from the rap in Black or White.
Okay, my brain managed to filter that out because I liked Michael Jackson rap. Anyway, so anyway, the guy used to be black but was now white. The video to the single was Jackson, usual mini movie format, and it featured child actor Macaulay Culkin and Norm from Cheers actor George Wendt. The Dangerous World Tour followed. No. I think he spent time at Neverland Ranch. So anyway, Dangerous World Tour followed in 1992 and 1993, which grossed over $100 million. Right? He's doing all right. So it says here, let's have a look at Jackson's face during this period. We got some photos there.
Let's go to the next picture.
There's Brit Awards, Ian. Are they in there?
We can get onto that, yeah. But let's look at his face around this time to see what he'd done to it now.
Let's have a look at his face now. Ooh, look at his face.
Oh, I'm using WordPad, and it just did a thing like, "Oh, you want to go to the next page?" No, I don't want to go to the next page. I want to read the last paragraph in that page. Following child sex abuse allegations in 1993. which we'll cover later in the programme, Jackson started a relationship with the daughter of Elvis. Was that Priscilla?
No,
No,
his daughter,
she was
nice.
But then
She
again,
was nice as
Elvis
well.
nonced her, didn't he? Because she was about 40. Was she?
Yeah,
15,
it was allowed in those days though.
Yeah.
But
Jerry Lee Lewis
So
nonced his cousin.
got married in May 1994. In December 95, the couple had separated. Oh, it didn't last long. In June of 1995, no, I'm still reading that. I don't want to scroll past it. In June 1995, Jackson released the double album His Story.
His story.
Past, Present and Future, Book 1. The first disc was a greatest hits compilation, and the second disc contained 30 new songs. It went on to become the best-selling double LP of all time. Really? My mum had a collection of Michael Jackson stuff, and I don't remember having that. Let's look at Jackson's face changes around this time. So we got some more slides.
There we go.
Let's go on to the next picture there, Hemi. There we go. So,
have you got the one where he's got a costume and it looks like Colonel Gaddafi's uniform, but with mirrored epaulets?
Basically, there he is, a white guy, isn't he? There, he's white now.
Well, we're in danger of going past the Brit Awards, aren't we? Do you remember the Brit Awards when?
No, we're not. We will go past that.
Oh, the Brit Awards are in there, are they?
And he looks like the Joker in the last picture. He's really, really fucking himself up there.
You probably want to know I got these scars.
It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
He's just ignorant.
So, in 1996, Jackson performed the I can't go as high as he did in that ring. And Jarvis Cocker took exception to that, because I remember, because I quite liked Pulp at the time. He performed Earth Song at the UK Brit Awards ceremony, which we would, I assume this we is an editorialising we would have preferred if he'd done the Billie Jean instead.
Yes, I would have preferred to see that than Earth Song.
I think Jarvis Cocker would have preferred that as well.
Didn't Jarvis Cocker touch his cocker while he was up there with Michael Jackson?
So Michael Jackson was going onto a platform. Jarvis Cocker stormed the stage, and he was going to swing at Jacko, but he'd already gone up about that time.
Yeah, he went up there and he didn't know what to do. He should have just joined in with the dancers or something, shouldn't he? It was quite a good thing to do, but he just
wasn't that the same Brit Awards that Chumbawamba threw a ice bucket over to Jags Prescott?
I'm not sure, but something was always happening at the Brit Awards, wasn't it?
So, it wants to be like common people. He remembers that song word for word perfectly. But anyway, in the 90s, some of his music was really shit, and Earth Song was awful. This is true. During the performance,
it was a fucking crap.
Oh, so is Earth Song from history then?
I don't know, but that was the one that Jarvis Cocker interrupted.
During the performance,
Oh,
history, the one that follows Dangerous. So that's got Scream on there that he sung with his sister. You are not alone. Earth Song, and
that was awful. That was awful.
They don't care about us. They don't care about us, which is awful. Song. And then Stranger in Moscow, which I genuinely do not.
Okay, Rabble Shekel Goiberg. I know they don't care about us. Isn't your, it's your bête noire, but I thought it was an all right song that. But anyway, during the performance,
they don't care about us.
Yeah, I thought it was, hit me, chew me, everybody sue me. It's like, oh no, he didn't say that. He actually used the other word, which Susan Wojcicki we're not allowed to do the verboten stuff. So, during the performance, Jackson was presenting himself as a Christ-like figure, in which many saw Jackson taking things too far, including Jarvis Cocker of Pulp, who was in the audience. Cocker decided to join Jackson on stage during the performance, an action which didn't go too well with Jackson. It didn't go. Michael Jackson disapproved of Jarvis Cocker gate crashing his
didn't like it
when he was showing off.
Someone had to do it.
New boyfriend.
Also, in 1986, Jackson got married for the second time to his dermatologist Debbie Rowe. They had a child called Prince.
She was a cracker. She was that Debbie Rowe, wasn't she?
I don't know. And they had a child called Prince.
Think Pauline from EastEnders, Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
And not Miss Brown's from Are You Being Served, Pauline? Later, Pauline.
It's definitely grey cardigan, Pauline. Definitely.
That's what I was imagining, because I was just going to say early Pauline. I would have. Anyway, they had another child called Paris. So 2 children. Were they conceived naturally? Jackson and Roe.
Ian,
they got divorced.
Am I jumping the gun if I tell you who the father of those children is?
Oh, don't spoil it for me. I'm going to read what Ian's wrote.
Is that in the script?
No, it's not. It's Oliver, though, isn't it?
It's
Oliver.
reportedly Mark Lester who played Oliver in the. Is it a
But he did give
film?
He did give some spunk though to Jackson, and also the kids clearly aren't Jacksons because they'd be mixed race, and they're not, are they?
Yeah,
and they're the white kids, so they're not. They're not
Jacko
biologically
actually changed his DNA. What are you talking about, Ian? He's trans.
Yeah, but I think there was the understanding he was a eunuch, so wouldn't have been able to be a father. Jackson and Roe got divorced in 2000. Roe conceded custody of the children with an $8 million settlement from Jackson in 1990. Yes, give up my kids to this man. In 1997, Jackson released the album "Blood on the Dance Floor." Oh, that was his, was it?
Yeah.
Which contained remixes of his existing songs and 5 new songs. It achieved worldwide sales of 6 million.
6 million. 6 million.
Not the 70 million that Thriller made, did it?
In October 2001, Jackson released the album Invincible, which cost more than $30 million to produce. Oh, he must have been using the Fairchild synth then. It was Jackson's first full-length album in 6 years, and was the last studio album he was to release. It went on sale. It went on to sell 8 million copies worldwide. I'm good at this live reading, aren't I? And so we have let's look at Jackson's face around the turn of the century.
The next picture there. Let's see.
Come on,
check it out. 2001 is obviously Mr. Jefferson from South Park. That's ignorant.
He's really
ignorant. What happened to his chin as well? Like,
what happened to everything? What's he done? Why does he want to look like that?
Well, he should have left it alone in 1996, really, shouldn't he? That was kind of as far as
before then.
See, then he starts looking like his sister Latoya in 2000, doesn't he? And then he just looks like a skeleton that's had some skin pulled over it rather roughly.
Come on! So, in 2002, Jackson had a third child by artificial insemination called Blanket. Blanket would gain worldwide fame after Jackson dangled Blanket over the balcony of a Berlin hotel room, bringing to question Jackson's mental state and suitability to look after the children.
No.
For the next...
Michael Jackson is the most sane man I've ever seen in pop.
I do remember this incident, and I thought then it's like, yeah, he is a bit wacky, isn't he?
He's a bit of a lad.
They called him Wacko Jacko after that incident. For the next 7... Did they? I thought
he's always been that.
Yeah, he's been Wacko Jacko since the 80s, I think, hasn't he?
I just thought it was the Blanket incident that was why they call him Wacko Jacko. Anyway, for the next 7 years, Jackson's life was in turmoil. A high-profile child abuse case in 2005.
You've also missed out the Martin Bashir documentary.
We cover that a bit later.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I haven't missed out anything I'm reading here.
Yeah, go for
Jackson's life was in turmoil. High-profile child abuse case in 2005, in which Jackson was acquitted. Health problems as a result of being addicted to prescription drugs and a result of his extensive plastic surgery. Financial problems also involved with Jackson spending like he was in Days of Thriller, but not achieving the record sales to support the lifestyle. Yeah, he had a Fabergé egg collection, didn't he? He quite liked his Fabergé eggs.
But he had 100. He had 100 odd staff working at Neverland, so just pay that lot and a zoo. You know.
Well, you think what a full on fucking amusement park costs to maintain?
Exactly, yeah. If you're selling
full zoo,
70...
yeah, like the intermediary, he had 2 giraffes. He had like a full zoo as well, didn't he? So you need all the zookeepers, vets bills, I mean, can you imagine what the daily fucking cost would be?
Security.
Yeah.
How much does the shit scooper get paid? If you've got 2 giraffes and elephants and all that, that's a lot of poo to shift.
Yeah.
So there's another photo here. Let's have a look at Jackson's post-millennium face. You can see I think you could say he's hit the wall. Why does he wear lipstick? Is that...
You can actually get your lips coloured, can't you? He actually looks like Liza Minnelli in 2003, doesn't he?
Where is his nose gone?
You know, I'm just gonna look up Elisa
Minnelli.
It's just Liza. It's Liza.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It's. I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Life is a cabaret, old chum.
Oh God, yeah. It's a similar expression on the face and all.
Pretty much plastic surgery, like her husband, David Guest, as well.
I know that name for some reason.
That's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down looking at David Guest's weird plastic surgery face.
So, excuse me. In March 2009, is he the one that did "You Spin Me Right Round Like a Record Right Round"? He was in Celebrity Big Brother and he had massive lips.
That's Pete Burns, isn't it?
That's Pete Burns, yeah. David Guest was is he a record producer or a film producer? I can't remember.
I'm not sure actually what he did. He just used to hang around with famous people.
Like Liza Minnelli.
Maybe he was an agent or something.
They kind of looked very similar, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like they
got carried away with
surgeon.
In March of 2009, Jackson announced a series of comeback concerts at the O2 Arena in London. Up to 50 dates were penciled in for Jackson to perform after 1 million tickets are sold in less than 2 hours.
How did that work out?
I don't think I bothered going to any of those concerts. What was I doing?
Are they still on now, are they? 50 concerts. It's going to take a long while to get through.
I'm not sure if all the tickets have been sold. Yeah. On June the 25th of 2009, less than 3 weeks before the O2 shows were to begin, Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by propofol overdose. What is propofol? But anyway, it was administered by his...
Horse tranquilizer.
Oh, okay. It was administered by his doctor, Conrad Murray, to help Jackson sleep. Now, is that the coroner that appears in all sorts of weird places? Like he did Prince's coronation. He coronated Prince, Princess Diana, and somebody else.
Autopsy is the.
Yeah, that's it. So he was 50 years of age when he died. So let's have a look at the before and the after plastic surgery, Jackson.
Let's go to the photo there, next picture. Let's just see the extremity he went.
It's been so subtle, you can barely notice the difference, can you?
He went from that to that.
I think in the later picture, you can see a bit of stubble, bit of facial hair, where he's more clean shaven on the one on the left.
Yeah.
And I think he might have had his hair permed.
Oh, did he done the same year as Prince?
Prince died more recently. He wasn't in the 27 club though, was he?
That's why I got mixed up between the two of them, because I thought Michael Jackson died. I didn't realise he died so long ago.
2009. But yeah,
he'll always be alive in our hearts, I bet.
I think basically after 2010, my internal clock stopped working, and I don't get the work. No, I'll say it finished in 2012. He died on
the same day as Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, all right then. So there we go.
My bit. Yep.
Good. There's some background into the troubled figure that was Michael Jackson, but fuck all that shit. What we really want to know about is the boys.
Johnson.
So let's do it and judge for ourselves.
Is this like Mrs. Brown's Boys?
Well, no, a bit different to that. We can judge for ourselves. Was Michael Jackson the king of pop or the king of pedos? A dirty bastard. Right, okay, then let's have a look then. So,
well, nobody else is called the king of pop, are they?
Yeah.
The Prince of Pop. I thought he was the Prince of Pop.
I can't even look at general.
But what about what's his name? Cliff Richard, the Peter Pan of pop.
Oh no.
U-Tree investigated him as well, didn't they?
I
didn't find anything because he's a virgin.
Is that like when they said they didn't find anything on Jimmy Savile, and it's like, they just moved on?
Yeah, when he's
anyway.
dead, when he's dead, we'll find it all out.
All right then. What about the boys? That's what everyone wants to know about. All right then. So, in 1984, Jackson won a record 8 Grammy Awards for his album Thriller. At the ceremony, Jackson's date was Brooke Shields, one of the best-looking women in the world at the time. So normally upon seeing this, most straight men, including myself, would think, you lucky fucker, getting your end away with her. However, the couple had company on their date in the form of 13-year-old child actor Emmanuel Lewis, who was born with a growth defect which made him physically much smaller than he should have been. Jackson had built up a friendship with Emmanuel and didn't want to leave him out. Jackson spent the evening with Brooke Shields on one arm and a young boy on the other arm. So if we go to the next picture, Hemi, let's just look at this spectacle.
This sounds like it's
and
going to
see
be
if you would. Yeah, let's have a look at this. This is how he turned
How
up.
old's that kid? Did you say 30?
He had a growth defect, but obviously,
that was his new Bubbles, weren't it? Bubbles died at this point.
If I was there, I'd be like, "Fuck off, kid! I'm going to do her." But anyway. Though Emmanuel Lewis always insisted that his relationship with Jackson was just a friendship and Jackson was never inappropriate with him, it is still an unusual spectacle. And also at the end of the evening when it came for Jackson to throw one at Brooke, it must have been awkward having a boy around. Yeah. At the height of Jackson's fame, tabloid investigations into his private life were showing that his childlike persona wasn't just an act. He seemed to take acting like a child to a new level and was always seen in the company of children at his Neverland Ranch had features such as a fairground and zoo. He would invite hundreds of children to spend time at his ranch. Often the children would have illnesses, and it all seemed like innocent fun, and Jackson was doing good. It was noticeable, though, that over the years, Jackson would have his favourites, which were always boys around the age of 10, which would accompany him everywhere. It would be accompanying Jackson at premieres, getting out of limos and off private jets,
Only like E.T.
and on
Elliot.
concert tours.
Nothing was going
Yeah,
on there,
exactly.
was it?
Exactly. And on concert tours at his side, often dressed in the same way as Jackson. Some of these boys included child actors like Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman, and the son of John Lennon, Sean Lennon. Though the boys he would often hang around with were on the whole unknown. Though it seemed all innocent enough, one of the more disturbing elements of Jackson's friendship with the young boys was the fact that he would sleep with them in the same bed. Initially, alarm bells would ring about this.
Michael Jackson always slept on the floor, never ever on the bed, as was said, as was admitted during Proper Crimbo by Avid Merrion. Yo ho, I'm a bad mofo. I sleep on the floor, never ever on the bed.
Yeah, right. Anyway, initially alarm bells would ring about this fact.
Wasn't that what he told Martin Bashir, that he always slept on the floor, never on the bed?
Well, yeah, but the boy said something different that he was with. The boy said, Anyway, we can come on to that. But yeah, initially, though, upon hearing this fact, you'd want to kick Jackson's head in, wouldn't you? You'd think, right, you fucking cut that out now, you dirty bastard. But Jackson said there was nothing sexual involved when he slept with boys, and it was more like a slumber party, which is something that kids do in America, where they sleep around each other's houses. But sleeping together happens with other children of the same age, not with a grown man. Yeah, so Jackson explained his childlike behaviour being down to the fact that he missed out on much of his childhood due to being famous from a young age and not being able to go out and play with other kids and stuff like that.
Well, what you'd normally do is you'd settle down with a woman, you'd have a few kids, and you'd make sure that they never had a childhood like you did. That's what normal people would do, wouldn't they?
And also, being a child is shit anyway. So if you're in a pop group and famous and going on TV, that sounds much better than crap we used to do.
Getting off a decent quality poon like Brooke Shields.
Yeah, like, or boys if you prefer that. Anyway, often at his sleepovers with kids, other adults were often not present, and even if there wasn't a sexual element involved, he was very suspicious and asking for trouble. So, just go to the next picture there, Hemi. Let's just have a look at Jackson and some of his young friends. Just go to the next one there.
Completely wholesome.
Yeah, there's no little girls there, is there, or little fat kids,
Little fat kids.
or infants. There's always a boy around the age of 10.
Prepubescent, I believe, is the phrase.
Yeah. He certainly is a type, isn't there? Anyway, it was inevitable that Jackson's behaviour with young boys would lead to trouble. And over the years, there have been numerous accusations that Jackson molested his special friends. So what we'll do, let's just have a look at a timeline of the main accusers, and we can run through them and see what we think. So if we go on to the next, go on to the next image. Is actually this is quite we can follow this. So there you go. There's
so Geordie Chandler was the first one to come out, wasn't it?
Yeah, this the first main one. So what we'll do, let's just run through that case. So 1993, we can follow the table. Geordie Chandler. So in August 1992, Jackson's car had broken down in Los Angeles, so he made his way to Rent-A-Wreck, the car rental agency of the hip at the time. There, the owner, David Swartz, told Jackson that he could take a car for use and use it for free if he would just talk to his stepson, Jordan, who was a huge fan of Jackson. Jordan's mother, June Chandler, allowed her son to speak with Jackson. The conversation lasted for 5 or 10 minutes. As the conversation closed, June gave Jackson her home phone number and suggested that Jackson might like to phone her son some other time. Shortly after, Jackson left for Europe to continue his dangerous tour. A month or two later, while still on tour, Jackson put through his first phone call to Geordie, which lasted for 10 minutes. Jackson continued calling the boy, and the conversations became longer and longer, finally culminating in calls lasting up to 3 hours.
Oh,
I know. In February 1993, after Jackson finished
it was
the
like,
second...
I'd love to be able to talk to Michael Jackson. Then at the end, he's like, for fuck's sake, would his cunt just shut up?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, after Jackson finished the second leg of the dangerous tour and had returned to Neverland, he invited Jordan, his sister Lily, and June to Neverland for the weekend. At this point, Jordan stayed with his mother and sister in one of the guest units. A week or two later, they returned to Neverland for the weekend. Again, Jordan and Lily stayed in the guest unit with their mother. As you may recall, the guest units were quite some distance from the main house. Jack Barnes was also present at Neverland on this occasion. That weekend, Jackson took the Chandler family to Toys R Us, and the children were encouraged to help themselves to whatever toys they liked, with Jackson footing the bill. On their third weekend visit, not long after, Jordan asked to sleep in Jackson's bedroom, as there were other boys present who were sleeping there too. Frank and Eddie Costco and Macaulay Culkin. June refused, and Jordan once again slept in the guest unit with his family. So Jordan wanted to sleep with Jackson at this time. He had been grooming him, taking him to Toys R Us and shit like that. So, fuck's sake. At the end of March 93, Jackson invited the family to Las Vegas for a short trip to take in the sights and sounds of Sin City. They flew from Los Angeles in private jet and stayed in a 3-bedroom suite in the Mirage, both courtesy of Steve Wynn. June and Lily took one bedroom, Jordan another, and Jackson in the third. On the first night there, Jordan and Jackson watched the horror movie The Exorcist. After the movie, Jordan was feeling scared, and rather than telling Jordan he should go to his mother, Jackson suggested that Jordan stay in the bed with him. This was the first night that Jordan and Jackson shared a bed, but in the morning, June expressed displeasure at the sleeping arrangements and told Jordan he was not to share a bed with Jackson ever again. Now it was Jackson's turn to be scared. He had spent a lot of time and money, not to mention effort, grooming Jordan to share a bed, and he wasn't going to have his opportunity snatched away from him now after it had become a reality. It's very dodgy, isn't it? That night at 11:30, Jackson turned up at June's door, crying and shaking, begging June, "You don't trust me. We're a family. Why are you doing this? Why are you not allowing me and Jordan to be together? You're ignorant."
You're ignorant.
After around 30 minutes, after around 30 minutes of Jackson begging and crying, June finally relented and agreed to let Jordan share a bed with him. And for the rest of Jordan and Jackson's relationship, they shared a bed every night they were together. The following day, Jackson brought June a gold bracelet from Cartier, as presumably as a thank you gift. So he gave June a necklace from Cartier, and he gave Jordan a pearl necklace. Anyway, over the next few months, Jordan travelled regularly to Neverland to spend time with Jackson, sometimes with his mother and sister, other times without. On all visits, Jordan stayed with Jackson in his bedroom, and when June and Lily accompanied him, they stayed in the guest units. Such was the trust June had in Jackson. In the spring of 1993, Jackson was invited to stay at the Chandler home. Jackson would stay for up to a week at a time at the Chandler, staying in Jordan's bedroom, where there was only one bed. Jackson stayed a total of 30 nights in Jordan's bedroom from the beginning of April to the end of June of that year. If it was a school day, Jackson would depart in the morning at the same time as Jordan, only to return when Jordan finished school for the day. During this period, June came home at the end of the day to find expensive jewelry sets, earrings, necklaces, and a ring on her bed, another gift from Jackson. On another occasion, June received a £7,000 gift voucher for Fred Segal, an upmarket department store in Los Angeles, from Jackson. So very dodgy, isn't it? Go to the next picture there, Hemi. Let's have a quick look and see Jackson with Jordan. Let's have a look at this. Go to picture number 17. So let the viewers have a look. Yeah. They have an award ceremony. Jordan's actually sat on his lap, and he was 13 at the time. So, you know,
that's a bit.
When you're an infant, you sit on an adult's lap, don't you know, when you're 13? But anyway, something a bit fucked up, isn't it, going on? Anyway, in early May 1993, Jackson took the family on a trip for 4 or 5 days to Disney World in Florida, and again in June for another 4 or 5 days. As with Las Vegas, June and Lily slept in one room of the suite, while Jordan and Jackson shared another. In late May 93, Jackson took the family on a 4-day trip to the tiny Principality of Monaco for the World Music Awards. June and Lily had a separate room. Jordan stayed with Jackson the whole trip. After 4 days, the four of them travelled to Euro Disney for a couple of days. Excuse me. Around this time, plans were made for Jordan to accompany Jackson on the final leg of the Dangerous Tour, which was due to begin at the end of August, with June's full blessing. In July 93, June needed to travel to New York to attend her brother's wedding. Jackson's assistant, Norma, organised 2 suites in the Riga Hotel. Jordan, June and Lily stayed in one of the suites, although Jordan wasn't really spending much time at the moment due to his lengthy private phone calls from Jackson. 2 days after the wedding, Jackson arrived in New York, checked into the Riga, upon which Jordan moved across the hall into Jackson's suite for the remaining days. This was probably the last time Jordan slept with Jackson, as his father gained custody of Jordan soon after and would not allow any more sleepovers. So I can't blame him, really. All in all, Jordan and Jackson shared a bed one-on-one for around 70 days over a 5-month period.
Not weird at all.
No, it's just ignorant, isn't it?
You're just ignorant.
Yeah. Jordan Chandler's father, Eve Chandler, a dentist and screenwriter based in Los Angeles, accused Jackson of sexually abusing his 13-year-old son and wanted to resolve the issue with a financial settlement from Jackson. But he and Jackson could not agree a figure on an amount.
That's the way to sort it, isn't it?
Jordan went on to tell a psychiatrist and the police that Jackson had sexually abused him, triggering an investigation. Some of Jackson's staff reported inappropriate behaviour, but police dismissed their accounts as not credible, as they sold their stories to the tabloids or had grievances against Jackson. Police also investigated Evan Chandler for extortion, finding that he was $68,000 behind in child support arrangements. Even had also used sedatives on Jordan during dental surgery, during which Jordan said Jackson had touched his penis. On the 20th of December 1993, investigators for the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department and the LAPD issued Jackson with a warrant for a strip search, as police wanted to verify Jordan's description of Jackson's dick. So, yeah. What would he say, though? Well, it sort of had like two round parts and a kind of longer bit in the middle. Yeah, that's right. That's definitely it. Yeah. Anyway, pretty accurate. He said Jackson's penis had distinctive marks. The child was able to draw the distinctive marks on Jackson's penis and buttocks, as Jackson suffered from the skin condition vitiligo. A police investigation was launched into Jackson, which included a raid on Neverland and a strip search of Jackson. According to numerous reports, including from the investigative journalists such as Diane Diamond and Jack Peretti, child correctly identified marks on the star's private parts, prompting Jacko to settle the case. During the investigation into Chandler's claims, police questioned around 30 children and their parents. All said Jackson had done nothing wrong. Cops also spoke to two ex-housekeepers in the Philippines who had sold molestation stories to the papers, but decided their story had no credibility. On the 25th of January 1994, Jackson made an out-of-court settlement with the Chandlers of approximately $23 million. So, make of that what you will.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
I might have missed the part. Did you say, like, he got arrested by Hollywood PD, and then they did a strip search, and then they said, oh, there's no way he's capable of doing what they accused him of?
Well, no. Jordan had seen Jackson's dick, and because Jackson has a skin condition, they were like white marks on it. It was different shades. He was able to describe that's what he saw, and that correlated with what the police saw on the photos. Family, but Jackson paid off the family to make it go away. So, make of it what you will. That one, very dodgy, isn't it? But all right then. If no one's got anything further to remark on that case, let's go back to the next picture there, Hemi.
Which one am I doing?
And have a look at. Go to the next picture I sent you. Yeah, it's the same. It's the timeline again. And let's look at the next boy.
It's Gavin Arvizo, is it?
And that one, you can tell us about that one, Hemi. Yeah?
Gavin Arvizo met Jackson in 2000 when he was suffering from kidney cancer.
For a piss.
Aged 10. Arvizo was at the centre of the 2003 documentary Living with Michael Jackson. In the documentary, Martin Bashir spent time with Michael Jackson, showing the world an insight into Jackson's life. Jackson hoped the documentary would reignite his then flagging career, but it would have the opposite effect with disastrous consequences. The documentary showed Jackson as being completely out of touch with reality. He was clearly high, most likely on prescription drugs, a suspicion that was confirmed by his ex, Lisa Marie Presley. Jackson said that the only plastic surgery that he had was 2 nose jobs. Clearly an insane thing to say, and it was during this documentary that Jackson infamously dangled his baby over the hotel balcony. Most alarming, though, was a scene where Jackson was interviewed and sat on a sofa with Gavin Arvizo by his side, holding hands with the boy, and Jackson was saying how they sleep in the same bed, and he could see nothing wrong with this. Let's have a look at Jackson and Arvizo together. I assume this is the next slide. Let's move that, which is quite helpful. With the areas,
feeling Jackson was a bit detached from reality and nobody told him, yeah, mate, you can't sleep with kids. It doesn't matter whether you're fucking them or not. You can't do that.
The problem is there's usually no one around to tell these people no, is there? I mean, look at Meghan. I mean, if Harry had slapped the bitch and said no, things would be a lot better for him, wouldn't they?
The fact that actually he's saying, yeah, we sleep together and there's nothing wrong with it. That defensive like that means he knows there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
So he's trying to justify it, and it's like, mate, like somebody at some point has said, you can't sleep with children. They're going to accuse you of molesting them. No, that's ignorant. I would never do that.
especially after the 23 million. You think that would, even though he was out of touch with everything, surely that's an indication.
I think he was also quite out of touch with what he had in the bank, weren't he?
Is this why they're saying, hit me, Jew me, everybody sue me?
But, again, look at that picture there. Like, that kid's 12, You don't do that when you're 12, do you?
I wouldn't be doing that with Michael Jackson when I was 12, I'll put it that way.
He wouldn't be sat on his knee and stuff.
Yeah. After the documentary, Avizo went on to claim that Jackson sexually abused him in February and March 2003. Well, this is what we're saying. Basically, the thing is, if Jackson hasn't done it, I mean, I'm entirely agnostic about it, to be honest. If Jackson hasn't done it, his behaviour is fucking well ill-advised, isn't it?
I know. It's just asking for trouble, isn't it, basically?
Avizo claimed that Jackson wanked him off, showed him pornography and gave him alcohol. Jackson denied the accusations, saying it's just ignorant. The accusations resulted in one of the most well-publicised court cases of the 21st century. Oh, yeah, because Geordie Chandler didn't go to court, did he? That was paid out of court.
Oh, no. That was innocent. Jackson was innocent of that, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Trial began on February the 28th, 2005. It was nothing short of a media circus. I think I remember this. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, you can't forget it, can you?
Yeah, photographers and film crews were everywhere, and hundreds of. I mean, could you imagine that happening like the current day and age, in the Twitter day and age? It'd be fucking amazing, incredible, wouldn't it? Hundreds of obsessive Jackson fans hung around outside the court, protesting their hero's innocence. The trial was clearly taking its toll on Jackson, and he was visibly and mentally and physically deteriorating during this time. Jackson would turn up late for court, much to the annoyance of his lawyer, and at one stage, Jackson turned up wearing his pyjamas. Let's have a look at this spectacle.
Let's have a look then.
There he is in his gym
pyjama. Yep.
Hey, look, at least he didn't sleep in the nuddy. He's proved he didn't sleep in the nuddy. Multiple witnesses.
What the boys said.
Multiple witnesses took the stand during the trial, including Jason Fracchia, I don't know, whose mother worked at Neville Arm Ranch, and he testified that Jason abused him on several occasions when he was 10 years old. Ralph Chacon, I don't know, a former security guard at Neville Arm Ranch, testified that he had seen Jackson perform oral sex on Jordan Chandler in the early 90s, but he kept his mouth shut and didn't say a fucking word about it. He also saw Jackson passionately kiss Chandler and place his hand on his crotch. Macaulay Culkin took the stand and said he had shared a bed with Jackson a dozen or more times between the age of 9 and 14 and never been sexually assaulted by Jackson, and said that his parents never had a problem with him sleeping with Jackson. Fucking hell.
Yeah, his parents were nasty pieces of work, though, weren't they? Fighting over his money. That was well publicised.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With parents, are they?
Yeah.
Dancer Wade Robson said he'd slept with Jackson several times as a child but never been molested. The 13th of June 2005, verdict was reached of not guilty, and Jackson was acquitted for the crimes. In legal terms, acquittal doesn't mean the accused is innocent, but there's not enough evidence to convict.
Yeah, that's the thing with that case. Cause
again, like we're saying, even if it is perfectly innocent, it's ill-advised, isn't it?
Yeah. But, he had that lawyer as well, one of the best lawyers, didn't he? The guy with the white hair. And the thing is, in an abuse case, there's no evidence, is there? It's just your word against a child's. So if you've got a good lawyer, if you can pay for a good lawyer, then you've got a, good chance of getting away with it. But, yeah, so all right then. What we'll do, let's refresh ourselves. Again, we can, there's lots of dodgy things in that case. We can make our own minds up. But if we go back to the timeline, so you go back to the next image there, Emmy, we can check out where we are and see what we've got. There we go. Where are we up to?
Gavin Aviso, so we're at 2004.
2009, we're on to next, which is Hobbit. Let's tell us about the Terry George, if you would, please, Hobbit.
No, because I don't know about Terry George. Is this another script? Is this? Oh, God, don't I have to scroll past that inflated ball bag every time. Harry, why did you post this stuff?
That was fucking. That cracked me up. That did.
It would be good to show that, but obviously we've got you've been into trouble lately. We don't want to get into more trouble.
Yeah.
But for the people at home, there was an inflated. We've been looking at an inflated ball bag, haven't we?
You can go on Twitter and look at Bobby Bollocks, but I suggest you don't. So, Terry George, 2009. In 1979, 13-year-old Terry George from Leeds had a hobby of going to hotels where celebrities were staying, and armed with a tape recorder, he would try and interview them. At the Jackson Brothers, were touring the UK, and they're staying in the hotel in Leeds, so George set off to the hotel in an attempt to interview one or all of the brothers. After locating the hotel room, Terry knocked on the door, and 21 Michael Jackson answered. There were no security around, so Terry asked Michael if he could do an interview, and Michael invited Terry into the hotel room, where they were joined by Michael's brother, Randy, and Terry interviewed both of them. Terry said Michael was very friendly, and they swapped telephone numbers and addresses. Michael then started calling Terry, and they'd spent hours talking on the phone. They would have a phone called up to 3 times a week and got to know each other very well. During one such phone call, Jackson spoke about masturbation and asked Terry if he did this. And if he did you use cream? Terry was puzzled by that and said, no, I've got a foreskin. Jackson said to Terry, as this is Jackson, would you believe I'm doing right now? And Terry could hear down the line Jackson was making strange noises.
Oh, no.
Terry said the incident made him feel confused and uncomfortable. He could tell that Jackson could feel her knees, and next time they met face to face in 1981, Terry said the star acted cold towards him and their friendship died out over the years. Aww.
So there you are. Phone sex. Yeah. Just wanted to get interview with his hero, and he ended up being wanked over. So, isn't it?
Just ended up hearing.
I love my fans. I love my fans so much.
Hello there, Terry.
That's an early incident. He's actually on one of the what program he was on? I think he was on the Martin Bashir program. That guy as well.
I love all my fans.
You're just ignorant.
So
you're just ignorant.
Maybe he's related to.
I was just putting some lotion on.
What was the Jill Dando murderer bloke? What was his name?
Barry George.
Yeah, maybe they're brothers.
Barry George. Barry George did it. Me and Hobbit are convinced Barry George did it. It was the greatest. It was the greatest misdirect in history.
Barry George is like he's a modern day Sir Joseph Paxton, or is it?
Paxton? Yeah, Joseph Paxton.
Yeah, but Barry George is incredible. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't invent a banana. But Dopey Chris is saying Michael Jackson drove a lorry delivering building supplies. What
are you on about?
So Barry George killed Jill Dando, and his brother got wanked over by Michael Jackson. So it's quite a.
Uno says Terry's an innocent Hobbit.
Oh, and he also says he got confused because he was expecting the stream to be on BBC1, but it's on BBC2 tonight.
Yeah.
And he was worried that the fire rope around my stove is made out of blue asbestos. It's fiberglass, which people say is benign. So just don't stick it down your Jap's eye.
Anyway.
Asbestos is fine as long as you don't disturb it. So as long as you don't start trying to scrape it out or anything, Hobbit, it'll be fine.
Well, the problem with having it as a seal on the stove is every time you open and close it, you're disturbing it.
Yeah. So you're only wasting a few fibres. It only takes one to kill it anyway, Hobbit.
Yeah.
Just so I'd like to imagine the
kill you. Hobbit. Oh, I used to touch asbestos as a child, and I've got a few cysts on my fingers as a result of that.
Never did you any harm?
It did do me some harm, but it's relatively benign harm.
Anyway, let's look at the graph. Anyway, let's go back to the graph and we'll have a look at the next boy. We're up to 2013, Wade Robson. So, Henny, I think this one.
He doesn't look
This
like
one
a
you
puff girl
can tell
at all,
us.
does he?
Well, not that one. Yeah, go on. So tell us about Wade Robson.
Let's have a look at another boy that Jackson said he didn't abuse. It says it.
Shamona!
Shamona! I always sleep on the floor, never ever in the bed. Wade Robson
Get
was
my badass self.
Wade Robson was an Australian boy who first met Jackson briefly in 1987 when he was 5-year-old. Wade entered a dance contest and won, with the prize being a meeting with Jackson. In fact, he had polio and he just walked across the dance floor. The actual meeting was a brief meet and greet after a concert during the Australian leg of the Bad Tour. However, Jackson must have been taken with the little boy because he told his mother that if they were ever in the US, they should look him up. In 1989, the Robsons were happened to be touring the US, when Wade's mother, Joy, decided she would try and track down Jackson and arrange a meeting. She was successful, and they arranged to meet Jackson at Record One secure recording studios. The Robson party consisted of Wade, his sister Chantal, their parents, and one set of grandparents. It doesn't say whether they're maternal or fraternal. Jackson obviously liked what he saw in young Wade, and he invited his whole family to the ranch that weekend. Come and have beans, burger and sausage and beans. That first night, despite having like a ranch, I'd thinking cattle, barbecuing, not like nonsense and fair rides.
It's just shitloads of ground with loads of things to attract children, though, isn't it? That's what he did.
He's literally like an anglerfish, isn't he? That first night, despite having only got to know Jackson for one day, Robson agreed to allow her children, 7-year-old Wade and his 10-year-old sister Chantal, to stay in his bedroom while she and her husband and her parents stayed at the guest unit. What a fantastic mother Joy Robson is. It should be noted that Neverland guest units were a substantial distance away from the main house, making Joy an even better mother. After playing for a while, Chantal departed to the upstairs section of Jackson's suite to sleep, leaving her brother in bed next to Jackson. What a great sister! What a fantastic family! All looking out for their brother / son. Chantal said she felt uncomfortable staying in the same bed as Jackson and her brother. She felt a bit like a gooseberry or something. The following night, she died asleep in Jackson's bed. However, this was one of the last times she did so. Despite many more visits to Neverland over a span of years, she only slept in Jackson's bed twice, more as part of the aforementioned slumber parties. After that weekend, the Robsons continued their tour during the week, returning to Neverland the following weekend. After that weekend, mother and son went with Jackson to Las Vegas to catch a Siegfried and Roy show, while the rest of the Robson family travelled to San Francisco. In Vegas, Jackson, his new young friend, and his new young friend's mother took a suite in a hotel, with Joy Robson in one bedroom and Jackson one-on-one with Wade in another. What a wonderful woman! Absolutely, totally concerned for her child's safety there. While Joy did spend some time in Jackson's bedroom during the day, and part of the evening, Jackson had Wade to himself at night, when Joy should have been worried, but she wasn't. Jackson enjoyed.
She was enjoying the Death Valley and Vegas and everything too much to worry about what was going on there.
Yeah, gambling her child's inheritance away because she thought that Jacko will give him some money. Jackson enjoyed Wade's company so much that he flew the young boy over to America 4 times over the next 2 years. Each time Wade would stay with Jackson for a couple of weeks, either at Neverland Ranch or Jackson's apartment at Westwood, or both. When Jackson and Wade were staying at the apartment in Westwood, Joy Robson would usually stay at the Holiday Inn opposite. According to the Robsons, Jackson spent a lot of time mentoring Wade in music production. Is that what you call it now? But when Jackson was working without Wade present, Wade stayed with his mother. When Jackson would return home late at night, he would immediately phone Joy and instruct her to deliver Wade to his bedroom. Joy would take the boy across the road to Jackson's apartment and leave him there. She would return empty-handed to the hotel. She was well aware that she was taking her son to Jackson so they could share a bed. Whenever they were back in Australia, Jackson spent hours on the phone with Wade, with Jackson calling at least once a week and sometimes more often.
I hope you're not like Terry. Terry was a jerk. He was ignorant. I just love Terry. You're gonna love me.
When Jackson died, hundreds of children gathered at the gates of Neverland. Police let them out once they found a locksmith. Anyway, who's next?
Well, you are. Continue on. There's a bit more to do on the Robson story in 1991.
Just close that down.
We haven't got to the abuse yet. It's just the sleeping.
Oh fucking hell! No. Right, Robson. Hold on one second. Just wait for me to open this back up. Whenever they were back in Australia. So in 1991, Robson moved to the US to live permanently, sans Wade's father. With Jackson's help to gain permanent residency, and Wade continued to spend one-on-one bedtime with Jackson until 1996, when he slept with Jackson for the last time at Sheraton in Los Angeles. Wade's mother did not accompany him on that occasion. In fact, on many of Wade's visits to Neverland during his time living in the US, his mother was not present. On one occasion, Jackson stayed in Robson's apartment, sharing a pull-out couch with Wade. When asked if there were other boys he had heard of sleeping alone with Jackson, he had no knowledge of any. We know from Joy that on one occasion at Neverland, Wade was disappointed because Jackson had chosen a one-on-one sleepover with Jordan Chandler instead of Wade. Wade could only remember one or two occasions when others were present in Jackson's bed apart from him. Wade spent over 300 nights alone with Jackson over 7 years. In Jackson's 2005 trial for sexually abusing Gavin Avizo, Wade Robson took the stand and said that he shared a bed with Jackson when he was a young boy, but nothing sexual took place. His testimony was instrumental in getting Jackson acquitted in that case. In 2019, a documentary appeared called Leaving Neverland, which focused on Michael Jackson being guilty of sexually abusing young boys. Wade Robson appeared in the documentary saying he was sexually abused by Jackson, so he changed his story. Robson said he'd been brainwashed by Jackson and would do anything to stand up for him.
Yeah. Did you see that documentary?
I think I did, but I didn't
it was
really know the people who were in it.
His mother was in that, and she was saying that she said she really fucked up,
I mean, how was she to have thought that
she was
leaving her son alone with a grown man and he was going to try and bum the kid? I mean,
it wasn't. No, it was Michael Jackson. It was Michael Jackson. No, that was the.
Right. So it was Michael Jackson, which
you
means
alone.
You're just being ignorant.
I am in your bed. You and I can't remember the rest of that song. But
good, because that was an awful song.
I know. I just think it's
a terrible song,
isn't it? I am here.
But healed the world.
Inside your bed.
The door is locked.
I have opened it up.
I can see your cock.
Now we're in the shower. Have some Jesus juice. Do I want to continue with this song?
No, you don't.
Yeah,
no.
Henry will just finish up the last bit of the Robson story. So just finish up that.
Robson said the reason for the change of story all these years later was that he now had a son who was the same age as he was when the Jackson abuse took place. This made him wake up and realise how bad it was. Obviously, he didn't realise how bad it was until this point, that he had been abused by Jackson. He said the abuse started when he was 7 years old and lasted for up to 7 years until he was 14, when Jackson lost interest in him. After one such meeting... What?
When Jackson died, hundreds of children gathered at the gates of Neverland. Police let them out once they found a locksmith.
That was about 5 minutes ago.
I think that was about 5 minutes ago. I think
but it's funny to me.
After one such meeting with Jackson at a Los Angeles hotel room, he allegedly had attempted to have anal sex with Robson, but it was too painful, so Jackson stopped.
How?
Yes.
Jamona! Jamona, check the cone. Hee hee. Ooh. The following day, it's claimed Robson was summoned to an LA dance studio where Jackson asked him what he did with his underwear from the previous evening and was there any blood on it. Robson later he claimed discovered his underwear was stained, so he put them in the rubbish. Oh, that's handy. In 2017, Wade Robson tried to sue the Jackson estate, but failed after the judge dismissed his claims. You know, he's already said one thing in court, hasn't he? So.
Yeah. But obviously, he would have lied in court. I don't know why he's not... surely he would have got into trouble with that if he's changed his story now. He said in court that Jackson didn't abuse him, and then all those years later he said that he did. So lying in court is quite a serious offence, isn't it?
Mm.
But anyway, so yeah. But that documentary though, that was very dodgy. Looking at that, quite convincing, and I think it probably swung a few people's opinions. But anyway, so that was Wade Robson there. So.
I don't know. The people that surround people like Michael Jackson are equally as parasitical as he is, aren't they? So, it's really hard to know who's telling the truth when you've got someone lying about a liar, haven't you? So.
Yeah. So dodgy, but yes. But if we look at the picture there, though, with the Jacksons grabbing his dick, he's doing the dick grab there, isn't he? He's missed it actually as he's grabbing the leg. Luckily, the boy isn't doing it, but. Yeah. It's, that's James Safechuck. So what we'll do now, if we just move on to this one.
Yeah.
This guy was also in the documentary. So let's just run through this accusee, which is too much calling. James Safechuck was an American boy born in California in 1978. He started working in television commercials.
Not Sweet Chuck from the Police Academy films.
Safe Chuck, but yeah, or Mahoney, or the guy's head going into the horse's arse, wasn't it? In that film,
I can't remember his name. It's Sergeant something, isn't it?
Yeah, and they conned the two guys to go to a gay bar. Yeah. And they ended up getting sexually assaulted. But anyway, back to this. So he started working in television commercials from the age of 7, and in late 1986 and early 1987 was hired to act in a commercial for Pepsi, which featured Michael Jackson. In the commercial, Safechuck played the part of a starstruck Jackson fan who finds himself in Jackson's dressing room after a concert when Jackson walks in and he meets his idol. Yeah, so that's basically what the commercial is. I remember it actually. It's a bit shit to be honest, but anyway. Several months after the Safechuck and Jackson had made the Pepsi commercial, Jackson wrote a letter to Safechuck which reads as follows: "Dear Jimmy, thank you for your letter. It was nice hearing from you again. I've been working on a new video for my album and have been really busy. It was fun working with you on the Pepsi commercial. Maybe we can work together again. I'd like to have you come and visit me on the set sometime, or when I have some free time, you can come to my house. Keep sending letters. I'd love to hear from you. Speak to you soon. MJ." So there, that's what he wrote to a young boy. Safechuck and his parents were then invited to have dinner in Jackson's home in California, an invitation they accepted. After eating, the four of them watched the film, Batteries Not Included, in Jackson's small home theatre. During the visit, when Jackson was alone with James, he gave him gifts, a globe and $700 cash. Safechuck's parents were not aware that Jackson had given their son cash at the time, and when they later discovered, they told Jackson not to give their son cash. In response to this, Jackson giggled and said he could not help himself. The friendship between Jackson and the Safechuck family.
Obviously, we'll let our kid go and see this bloke more often.
Yeah, what's our son doing with $700 cash? Where'd he get that from? Anyway. The friendship between Jackson and the Safechuck family then developed, and Jackson would regularly visit the Safechuck household and vice versa, often staying overnight and sharing a bed with James. Yeah, there's a surprise. In early 1988,
Just think
Jackson...
of the thousands of children who didn't get molested because their parents said, "Oh, you fuck," at spending a night.
Yeah. Exactly. Or the thousands that just weren't his type. Anyway, Safechuck joined Jackson for 6 months on his Bard tour, and he would appear on stage with Jackson during the concert performances.
Oh, is that you saying Bard? Because I just think Michael Jackson the Bard.
Yeah, the Bard.
Sorry, it's just your accent. I don't understand foreigners.
Yeah, the Bard album, which was like you know, when you started to think he's not really that good, is he? You know. But anyway, the first instance of sexual abuse took place on the Paris portion of the Bard tour in 1988. At the time, Jackson was 29 years old and Safechuck was 10. They were in a hotel room together when Jackson performed sexual acts on the boy and told him that it was his way of showing love. After this, the abuse was a regular occurrence for the rest of the Bard tour. Jackson would give Safechuck gifts such as jewelry after the abuse took place, and the pair had code words for sexual activity that was taking place. They would use words including the phase, bright light, brick city, which was code word for a hard-on. If they were holding hands, Jackson would scratch the inside of Safechuck's palm, which was a cue for sexual activity. The abuse lasted from 1988 to 92, and Jackson would instruct Safechuck to deny everything if he was ever asked about the abuse. During the Bard tour, Safechuck developed a crush on Sheryl Crow, who was a backing singer for Jackson at the time. Jackson became jealous of this and told Safechuck that he should not like her, and he showed her photos of Sheryl without her makeup in an attempt to dissuade Safechuck from finding her attractive. So, yeah, I suppose she wasn't bad, if I remember rightly. Sheryl Crow, was she not? Can't remember, to be honest. Anyway, let's just look at the next picture there. You can see, look at the next picture there, Hemi, and we can see Jackson with his young friend. Let's have a look. Yeah.
Shimona!
Dodgy there, see. Got that look in his eye. But again, look, he's holding hands with the. If you're 10, you don't hold hands with an adult, do you? You do when you're an infant, but...
there's the classic. How do you know when it's bedtime in Michael Jackson's house? When the big hand touches the little hand. I remember that joke from 20 years ago. Oh, and Janelle is here. Well, bonsoir, Janelle.
Or any paedophile's house. Anyway.
He's a Frenchman I know that was getting he was like giving me French lessons and showing me this thing called Jean-Paul Combet, which is about the Napoleonic War.
Jean-Paul
anyway.
Le dans le jardin. There you go.
Et là, je mange le croque-monsieur.
Anyway, we got not much more to cover anyway. So when Safechuck got to 12 years old, Jackson began to lose interest in him, and his attention was turned to younger boys. Safechuck appeared with Wade Robson in the 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland, where they graphically described some of the sex acts that were performed by Jackson. This included bending over, bare-arsed, thus exposing his ring, whilst Jackson pleasured himself as he watched. So yes, that's what was going on there. So, certainly very dodgy. Let's just go back. Let's go to the next picture there, Hemi. We can go back to the timeline, and we can just tie this up actually with the last case.
That's a rather unfortunate name from that fella, isn't
it? Yeah. Michael Jacobs Hagen. So yeah, what we'll do this. Yeah, Jacob shagging.
Yeah.
Michael Shag Jacobs. Anyway, Michael Jacob Shaggin met Jackson in Paris in 1995 when he was 11 years old, and 2 years later he spent 3 weeks with the singer in a hotel suite. When I slept in his bed, we wore just boxer shorts, and he would put his arm around me and push his body to my body like you would with a girlfriend, Jacob Shaggin claimed. He would put our bodies on each other and kiss me on the head and cheek. I woke up many times and his hands were on me, one hand on the top of my legs and the other hand around me, Jacob Shaggin continued. He said the touching would become more intense when Michael was high on his medication. He also recalled how the star once gave him a copy of a book containing pictures of naked young boys. He also claimed Jackson stripped naked in front of him in a hotel hot tub in 1998. They were in the jacuzzi inside Michael's bathroom. He took his swim shorts off and said, "If you want, you can take yours off as well," he claimed. During the weeks he spent on tour with the star, Jacob Shagan would be lavished with expensive presents. During the weeks he spent on tour with the star, he would also be lavished with cash rewards as well. So there you go.
Where does one get a book of child pornography? Was he just like going to the Netherlands or Denmark?
It's an art book, and when you can, if it's in the name of art, you can have it. As long as it's not like graphic penetration shots or anything. Because when in the 2005 case they raided Netherlands and they did find these kind of books which they produced in court, but if it's in the name of art, then it's all right.
I see. It's like when Maria Abramovic has her art, and it's like, well, it's art, so she can get away with it. Okay,
but there you go. So we've run through some of the main cases there of Jackson's alleged behaviour with young boys. Question is, did he or didn't he? So, and as I mentioned earlier, the thing you notice about his special friends is they're all nice-looking boys around the age of 10, not girls. Not ugly boys, not infants of about 5. They're all around that age, and they're the ones that he kind of, spends a lot of time with. So, yeah. If he didn't molest boys, then as we said, it certainly was a fucking stupid thing to do, and to put himself in those positions was asking for trouble, and he got what he deserved anyway for just being so stupid.
Oh, it's apparently like you're not able to move on from when the trauma happens, and that's why you get stuck in that age. So I'm wondering if something happened to him at the age of about 10 years old. And
well, I think some people are just, it's how some people are, isn't it? For some reason.
I mean, it could be quite believable that he's kind of like emotionally retarded. But then, he's put himself in these stupid situations.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, obviously after the 93 case, that would say, well, don't do this, Yeah. And you would stop doing it. Or if you want to hang around with children that badly, then do it, but make sure there's adults around as well, and don't sleep with them. Surely that's easy enough to do. But as
I said, these people, especially someone of the size of Michael Jackson, no one's going to tell him no, are they? So it's
he should know that himself, though, unless he was a pedo. Yeah. And if he was, then he wouldn't be able to stop himself. The sexual urge would be too much to continue doing these things, you see? Whereas if it's just an innocent thing that he wants to do, then surely he could control that. So,
well, there are ways of doing it, isn't there? Too? Like sleepovers in tents where he stays in a tent and keeps the other kids in other tents on the land or something. There's kind of like this. It's hard to say. I can see how possibly maybe he is and all that kind of stuff. But then I can also see how he's not, and he's just surrounded with the wrong people.
I think
the man go, look, for fuck's sake, Michael. This
what we've
really
learned
bad.
from Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein is that a lot of this noncing does go on with these celebrities, but for whatever reason, Michael Jackson would prefer that his noncing happened in private, whereas a lot of them, they're doing it in public with other adults who are recording it for blackmail purposes, and it's become like an open secret now. Like everyone knows about it, but no one does anything about it. So. I mean, just a Maxwell, she's doing 20 years for trafficking children to apparently nobody.
Yeah, she's the first person to be accused of trafficking no children to nobody. I mean, were the children even named? Were they?
No, she was procuring them for Epstein. Though that I don't know, but she would drive her car around and see like young girls and in deprived areas and say, "Do you want to earn some money? Go and shag this bloke." So she did do that. But anyway, but yeah, very peculiar. But the thing with Jackson, though, he had so much money as well. He could do anything. That is, and he maybe didn't know, what he just thought. Well, I can do anything. I don't want to be black anymore, so I'll be white, and he could do it.
Don't matter if you're black or white.
I want to make myself look like a Burns victim, so I'll have that done to my face, what he did, and pay for it. So yeah. So was he the king of pop or king of the pedos? The king of pop or the king of boys' cocks? Or was he a troubled figure or just a dirty bastard? Yeah. But I don't think we'll ever know. The thing is, there's quite a few accusers in this case as well, isn't there? There's that as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're like flies around shit, aren't they? That's the thing, isn't it? It's once Geordie Chandler got a payout, it was open season, and Jacko didn't help himself by doing the stupid shit. So it's one of those that, like you say, you'll never know the actual truth. Everyone suspects what they suspect.
Yeah, but that documentary, though, Leaving Neverland, that was very, very convincing. Mainly because their mothers were on there, the kids' mother were on there, and they were good if they were like,
mustn't they?
They were just taken in, it was Michael Jackson who was the biggest star at the time. They got to know him. Yeah. They just had a normal life, and not only was it him, he was also buying them cars and whatever they wanted.
I just love the way the only British kid was like, "Yeah, fuck off, mate."
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, "Fuck off, mate. You nod. Fuck off, you nods."
Yeah.
Are you having a wank?
You having a wank, you dirty cunt. You fucking pedo.
Disgusting.
So we're going to do some unexplained pistories, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, Hobbit, you've got a story that you want to go through.
Yes. No, we've got from the annals of shark science a news story from the past. Oh, God, I've lost it. Oh no, I have to scroll past the enlarged scrotum again. Fuck's sake! Oh, where is it? Okay, so it's not there. Is it further up? There's
the turkey.
Oh no,
turkey up it.
I don't want to look at the cumburger for fuck's sake. Right, so here we go.
It's a shame we can't show the ball bag because that is an impressive picture. But I did like
it when someone did it up as a snowman.
Yeah, just look, if you want to go and see this sort of stuff, it's on Twitter. Yeah. Bobby Bollocks. You can go there right now, but I suggest you don't.
Bobby Bollocks Twitter. Hold on. So should we do the? Let's do the. Let's do the drop.
You can put a link in the thing.
You could go to there right now and you could check it out, but I recommend you don't.
That's Bobby Bollocks 2 on Twitter.
Yeah. So this is a summary, by the way. It's not the whole thing, which is probably just swell. NASA wants to know how dolphins talk to each other, and decoding them could help other things. Scientists in charge misinterpret this as the goal to try and teach dolphins to speak English. Load up the dolphin on acid, since it's the new wonder drug that makes things do anything. Right, so there's a good start. Okay, we need dolphins to speak English. I know, let's give them LSD. Keep giving dolphin LSD while it falls in love with woman handler. Dolphin doesn't do what they want because it's too horny. Woman handler starts giving hand jobs and letting it hump her to come all over. Dolphin just keeps getting...
is it the filming of... I think there's a film called 10. I think Britt Eklund had a bit of trouble with a horny dolphin.
Dolphins are...
Because they get a bit horn dog with women, don't they?
Dolphins make Michael Jackson look quite prudish. Dolphin does it because it's horny. Women handler starts getting hand jobs again. Yeah, I said that bit. Dolphin just keeps getting wanked off and drugged up while scientists do retarded experiments.
Oh fuck! I found the blog. I found the blog.
Not sure if she.
Anyway, read it out, Hobbit, and then I'll tell you.
Not sure if she had actual sex with a dolphin or not. NASA finds out the retards are wanking off dolphins, giving it LSD, and trying to teach English instead of trying to decode dolphin sounds to communicate with that. Yeah, imagine your brief is like, yeah, can you find out what the dolphin sounds are? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll wank off some dolphins, give them LSD, then teach them English. Shuts down the whole whole thing down, and the dolphin gets shipped to a new facility. The dolphin drowns itself in a suicide 2 weeks later, since he lost his female handler that was giving him hand jobs.
Dr. John Lilly was a neuroscientist.
I know that's a different one. Is that the same one? Because there was a different one talking about how there was I can't remember his name. It sounded like Mr. Dolphinberg.
Her name was Margaret Howe Lovett.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's the same one. I'll tell you what, because I think I heard it on the hate bus. I'll ask those guys and say, do you know the guy? Because he basically wrote a book about how female dolphins were coming on to him. So,
to truly connect with these creatures, Lovett decided she needed to be at the lab around the clock, basically moving in with them. You're likely now wondering if we're about to get to the dolphin sex, and yes, it's coming, kind of.
I've just checked my Twitter. Bobby Bollocks is following me back now. That's good.
Yeah, Bobby Bollocks is a good lad.
Is there any Bigfoot news?
Hold on, I'm just...
the French have no concept of Bigfoot, therefore there is no word for Bigfoot in French, which I think is stupid because it's Grand Pierre.
Oh, so apparently there was a male and 2 female dolphins. Lilly began dosing the 2 female dolphins with LSD in an effect to further their progress and prompt a major shift in their research. Though he tried to do the same to Peter, Lovett wouldn't allow it. Apparently the drug had no effect on the dolphins, which is a bit of an absurd statement because there seems to be no way to know that for sure. These are people who have been studying these. It's a fucking shark study all over again, Hobbit.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was like, yeah, can we have another $5 million and a barrel of LSD to wank off dolphins?
Yeah.
Hey, you're supposed to be trying to figure out what dolphin language is. We need more handlers to wank off more dolphins.
Handlers in more ways than one as well. In Blackfish, that film, they wank off a whale.
I like that. Did you ever see that realistic film posters? And it was, what was it? Is it The Shape of Water, where someone renamed it to Sexy Free Willy? Because that woman has a sex with Merman, don't she?
And
no.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson did the song for Free Willy, I think, as well.
Oh, I think they're desperate to wrap up MH370 because they're now saying the pilot deliberately crashed the plane.
Michael Jackson did the song for Free Willy. He sang that song, but after the Jodie
Isn't that
Chandler,
where you were not alone, weren't it? The song for that.
I don't know, probably some shit. But after the Jodie Chandler case, which cost him 23 million, I think you'll find there's nothing free about Willy.
Expensive Willy.
You will be there, is what Interdimensional Lizard said is in Free Willy. That is. Probably, what's that one he did? Feed the World. No, Heal the World. That was awful, that song.
What else we got?
Nice.
Mystery creature described as baby Loch Ness monster. Have you seen this one?
I think I have, but let's have a look. Let's see. Interesting to see this. Get on back onto the...
hold on.
Another take. There is an Ogopogo photo. Have you looked at that yet?
Ogopogo.
Ogopogo photo. Hang on a minute.
Ugadugabu.
There is. I do another channel called CFZ TV, and I have recently done a program on Ogopogo. Bear with me.
Ogopogo. Did you hear our extremely well-researched episode on African mysteries?
In Burkina Faso.
When was that?
Well, as Guy Fawkes will often point out, saying that I'm a sub-Saharan African, so it was real. It was I felt like it was my home territory, that episode.
Yeah.
Uga Dugabu. We talked about Mukele Mkembe.
And that's what
there you go. That's Baby Loch Ness monster.
Oh shit! Where is it? Oh yeah! Oh bollocks! Switch my TV off. Hang on a minute.
Oh, this is from Reddit, so you know it's tip top stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a thornback ray that's had its wings removed. There you go. It's not. Is this? You know, it isn't. So what was the point of putting it in the first place? A DJ, a rapper, and a YouTuber. It's got some flippers. A DJ, a rapper, and a YouTuber are set to fly to the moon on Musk's Starship. Who's going on it? So his new SpaceX Starship thingy.
A DJ, a rapper, and a YouTuber.
DJ Steve Aoki.
A DJ, a rapper, and a YouTuber walk into a pub.
K-pop rapper Choi Sung Hyuk.
The barman said,
"Are we supposed to know or care who these fucking K-pop people are?" Because I feel like people go, "Well, you're supposed to know who these K-pop wankers are."
I will refer back to the Worst Career episodes. They're not human beings.
So he's sending a load of no marks up there, so if it blows up, it doesn't matter.
Just put in general there. There's the Ogopogo photo. Have a look at that.
Ogopogo.
Oh shit.
Have a look at this.
We hanging.
Ogopogo.
Ogopogo.
Yeah, lob that up.
Have a bubble fun.
Hello, I am Ogopogo. I am the new story now. I am Ogopogo.
I am the Ogopogo.
It actually means the indigenous people called the Ogopogo. It translates to water demon.
Ogopogo.
Or a hippopotamus.
Yeah, scroll down. Let's have a look at that. You can see some kind of, like a cow-like head under the water.
It's a thingy, isn't it? It's a hippopotamus, isn't it?
If you scroll down, I think you will see the photo. Just scroll. Oh yes, there's those.
Oh, here we go.
Actual. There we go. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I think there's actually a still photo. If you scroll down in the article, you can actually see that. I had a look at it. There. So you can see a cow-like head under the water, two protrusions, maybe ears or horns, sticking above the. There we go. That's it. There.
It looks very
sticking above the water.
It looks very hippopotamus to me.
Well, one expert said it's perhaps a water bird under the water.
No.
Maybe its legs sticking up. But if that was the case, then witnesses would soon realise that's what it was, wouldn't they?
It could be a lump of driftwood or something.
It does look head-like. There is a festival they have on the lake called the Dragon Head Festival, where boaters put a sort of a dragon's head at the front of their boat, a bit like a Viking longship would have the head of a dragon at the front of their boat. They think maybe perhaps one of those fell off, is now floating around the lake. Is that possibility? But the most disturbing, well, the worst thing about it is there's just one photo. There's no video footage, no further photos, and should you have that, then that would nip the mystery in the bud quite quickly. But the fact there's just one photo doesn't really make sense. But anyway, it could be the actual real Ogopogo, couldn't it?
Could be.
We're looking at there.
Do we want to talk about pole shift, or shall we just make that entire thing a
we should do an episode on it, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
We'll do pole shift, Planet X, and micronovas because they all seem to be similar subjects.
Okay then. Right, are we done?
Oh well, is unexplained pistries? Do you want to do one more?
I I was just
I'm feeling generous.
Mystery surrounds spate of unexplained cattle deaths in Colorado.
Oh.
One of our favourite subjects, which I don't want to
Cattle
revisit.
mutilation.
Oh, the 3-part special.
Yeah. So phenomenon began back in October when a ranch in the town of Meeker, northwest Colorado, reported that 18 of its cattle had seemingly dropped dead for no apparent reason. So this isn't that; it's something else. Initially assuming that wolves were responsible, investigators examined the animals and conducted extensive surveys of the region to look for signs of the predators, but surprisingly found little evidence to suggest this is what happened to the cows. What, when they just dropped dead? I don't think that's wolves, is it?
Suddenly died.
Yeah, suddenly died because of wolves, have it?
Global warming.
Soon deepened further still when several other cattle also dropped dead, leading investigators on a hunt for answers that would leave them scratching their heads. They even considered the possibility that cows had been infected with a deadly bacteria, but a forensic examination of the remains revealed no evidence of that either. The phenomena has so far claimed that lives of more than 40 animals. That's literally the way it's written. Travis Black, the area's Colorado Parks and Wildlife Manager, described the situation as perplexing. We're scratching our heads a little bit, he said. We don't know exactly what has occurred up there. Efforts to get to the bottom of the mystery remain ongoing.
I've got a rage bait story.
Go on then.
Santa's grotto. By the way, I hate the term Santa. That's an anagram of Satan. Yeah. Father Christmas's grotto uses polygraph. Saint Nicholas, yeah, there we go. Uses polygraph to test if kids have been naughty or nice, even though the polygraph is inadmissible in court. Fuck you. 2 shopping centres in England, so in that case it's not Santa, it is Father Christmas, rolled out a rather novel approach to the Santa's grotto attractions this Christmas. How does Father Christmas know that a child is worth receiving a gift at his grotto? He gets them to take a lie detector test. At least that is if they happen to be visiting in Westfield, London, or Westfield, Stratford City shopping centres this festive season. You mean Christmas time? It's Christmas time. It's Father Christmas at Christmas time. It's not festive season.
It's the Winter Festival.
Fuck off.
Winterval.
Nicknamed...
It's Winterval.
Oh, nicknamed Father Fibmus due to his unusual approach to gauging worthiness, Paul Bramley, who serves as the expert polygraph examiner on Satan's behalf, asked kids between the ages of 6 and 12 a number of questions to see if he can catch them out. The questions which range from where were you on the night of January the 13th, 2021, and have you ever seen the murder victim before, are certainly the sort of thing children might lie about. Depending on the answer, the device will return a result of tinsel truth, ask again, or you're fucking nicked, mate.
Yeah.
Those who tell the truth could be in for extra present for Santa, while those who lie...
Spin your drum.
Well, those who lie might instead be ordered to eat more Brussels sprouts this festive season. Died suddenly from cringe. God, fucking hate. I hate this so much. It's Christmas time. It's about the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, and Saint Nicholas was a charitable soul who gave coins to the poor. Right, anyway, I'm done having my rage bait now.
Okay, we all done.
Yeah, I'd say we're done. Oh, I have to do the end stream then, don't I?
Yeah, good night, stay spooky.
Yep.
Stay spooky. Stay at Jackson's bed as well.
Yeah. Well, this is okay. It's not there anymore.
Touch you.
Yeah, we do need to do McCartney's Dead at some point, don't we?
All right, let's save it for next week.